Hello and welcome to TK Sports audio podcast, episode number 1. I'm your host Tinashe and I'm going to be taking you through various weekend football results. This weekend we're going to be concentrating on the football action because I'm pretty sure nothing much is going around in the world at the moment. So this podcast on a weekly basis, it's going to be focusing on the Premier League because I'm sure that's the most watched league in the world. But I will try to be fair and also focus on other big teams, your Juventus, Real Madrid, Barcelona, etc. And also to be fair, I watch all those leagues, but I'm pretty sure if we're going to be talking about all the leagues, I talk about Elche versus Eibar, this podcast would be 8 hours long on a weekly basis, and I don't think I've got time to talk about all that stuff. And I don't think you'd want to listen to an 8-hour podcast. I don't even think they would allow me to upload it on the various hosts if it's 8 hours long. I'm not sure, I'd be lying. It's just my guess. So we're going to start with the Premier League. And the Premier League, the first match day was on Wednesday, the 17th of June. And the first match was Aston Villa and Sheffield United. If I'm sure, I know I'm right. It was Aston Villa and Sheffield United. And that match just went out. It was like a whimper. Just festered. Just an anticlimax after months and months of waiting for action. But it was with the exception of this one bizarre moment in the 39th minute, if I still remember correctly. We're all coming from this lockdown and everything, and everyone has been away. So I guess everything has been a little rusty. So what happened was Sheffield United got a free kick. Oliver Norwood was the taker. And the Aston Villa goalkeeper fumbled the ball and it just went in, but I guess Michael Oliver didn't know that it went. He didn't see it. His visuals were, you're a ref, they're very unclear from that angle. But they're supposed to have this goal line technology. The watch will vibrate if the goal is a goal. But then Hawkeye, the company that provide the Premier League with these cameras, goal line cameras and goal line technology, have since come out and apologized in that moment that the machinery and everything was a bit faulty and it didn't pick up the goal, because from the replay you could see that it was a clear goal, but Michael Oliver could not award the goal because his watch did not vibrate. One of the very few moments in Premier League where the refs are at absolute no fault and the goal is not given. You can just imagine if you're a Sheffield United fan, come the end of the season, they've played so well in their first campaign, maybe they're fifth, and they're fifth by just 1 point, they can make it into the top 4. I'm sure you'll be crushed if you're a Sheffield United fan. But that's what happened, and I guess that's football coming back in style, Premier League. That's why we all love it. So it was really promising to be just a dull night all in total, but you were kind of expecting some action when you knew that the next match was going to be Manchester City versus Arsenal. And wow, I can't begin to explain Mikel Arteta's bad luck, if it's bad luck or just, I don't know, it's just an Arsenal curse. Because they're playing the mighty Manchester City, and you should be expecting that it's going to be pretty tough on Arsenal. I expected them to lose, but I thought they were going to lose maybe 2-1. City are they're way better, the squad, the quality of players that they have in comparison to Arsenal. But they start the match well, they're doing okay, they're hanging in there, points, You're just counting, that maybe City are just going to get a breakthrough somehow. Then they get the first injury in the 8th minute. Granit Xhaka by himself, no one injures him. It's just misfortunate, unfortunate, whatever it is. Granit Xhaka gets injured. He has to he has to come off. They put on Dani Ceballos, but that's their first sub already. As you know, FIFA changed the rules that you can have 5 substitutions during the game. But I think the Premier League did a weird one where you can make those 5 substitutions, right? But it has to be in 3 stoppages. So that means at some point you're going to have to make a triple substitution or a double substitution. So that's 1 sub down. Then a few moments after that, I guess it was the 24th minute. This is the game-changing substitution when it comes to how I analyze this match. Pablo Mari, the Brazilian guy, the guy, is he Brazilian? No, he's Spanish, but they loaned him from a Brazilian club, Flamengo. He goes down injured, he's grabbing I think it's his hamstring or something like that. He's complaining, then he has to come off. On comes David Luiz. And I have to tell you, for those who don't know me, I'm sure some who know me already know that I really love David Luiz. One of my favorite players ever. I've got a soft spot for this guy. I've always defended this guy. This guy is, I don't know what it does to me. I just love him like that. He comes on and disaster strikes. City go up just before halftime, courtesy to a Raheem Sterling strike. But what David Luiz is doing in that moment, when the ball sort of ricochets, or he makes sure he nicks it in a way it goes to Raheem Sterling. I don't understand what he's thinking. I don't understand his thought process. I wish I could have a conversation with him right now, call him, just talk to him, try to get to understand what he's thinking. Just a mistake like that, then Arsenal already 1 down, and they've been in the game. They've made sure that they've kept in close contact with City. They've kept it 0-0. You know, you're about to get there. You just need to get to halftime. When it's 0-0, you never know what happens. Of course, you might lose later on, but you make it a close game. Then they go into halftime 1-0 down because of that David Luiz mistake. A few moments later, we begin the second half. Then David Luiz pulls down Riyad Mahrez in the penalty box. Penalty to Manchester City. Another mistake from David Luiz. And that was like, I don't know how many minutes is it, from 51 to 24? I'm guessing 25 minutes. He dropped a disaster class for 25 minutes, David Luiz. Oh my gosh, that was poor. I've never watched a performance as poor like that from an individual. If I can remember one, I would have to think of maybe Bakayoko when he was at Chelsea. That was very, very poor from David Luiz. So he goes off. It's 10 men Arsenal versus Man City. From then on, it's game over. Kevin De Bruyne slots in the penalty. It's all easy after that. And you can see from the sense the way City are playing, it's like they were in second gear for the whole match, but then Arsenal just made it easier for Manchester City by, the David Luiz sending off. From then on, City are just so comfortable. They're moving the ball around. They're toying with Arsenal players. When an Arsenal player in that situation, I'm pretty sure, your head is down. You can't get it up. Even if you get some encouragement from the manager, you just know that you're beat, because this Manchester City team are just so good. They're just so good. And it's wrapped up by Phil Foden in the 90th minute. 3-0, that's the result. What a way to lose a game. I'm pretty sure after the match, I don't know, I can't speak for Mikel Arteta, but if I was Mikel Arteta, I would really be considering David Luiz's future at Arsenal. It could be his last game. That's just what I believe. I think Luiz might be done at Arsenal, or maybe he might get one or two more chances to prove his worth, and he has to take those chances. But I'm pretty sure Arsenal are going to have to move on from David Luiz from this point onwards, because it's costing them too much and they don't have much going forward. So if you're leaking too many goals at the back, you have to make adjustments, and David Luiz has to be the first adjustment. You just got to make sure that you get him out of the club, because Arsenal really suffering. Then on Friday, the pre-match, or the match before the main event, the pre-main event was when Norwich were hosting Southampton at Carrow Road. I'm sorry to say this, but I believe that Norwich City aren't going to have it in them to survive in this Premier League season. They should start planning for life in the Championship. They lost 3-0 to Southampton, and you have to say Southampton aren't really that good as themselves, They've got a really good coach. I like Ralph Hasenhuttl, but they don't have much when it comes to, the quality of players in the squad. They're not that good. Danny Ings continued his fantastic form this season. He's been in fantastic form. He scores another goal. Stuart Armstrong and Nathan Redmond also got onto the score sheet, but Norwich should start planning for life in the Championship. I don't think they're going to be able to survive. I don't know what's going to happen to Daniel Farke as well. Maybe he's going to pull another David Wagner, just leave Norwich, go try us like in the Bundesliga or something like that, because Norwich are done for. They've been poor this whole season. They cannot defend to save their lives. Some of the defending has been shocking, but maybe I have to say that Tim Krul has been some sort of revelation, because he's done all right for someone I thought was washed up. He's shown me that he's still got something. Maybe he can still get onto one of the teams that are getting promoted. He can get a game there. He can plan to make a transfer to maybe West Brom or Leeds if they don't really need a keeper. But Leeds have got Kiko Casilla, though. I don't know. But that's what he should be planning. It should now be planning for the future when it comes to Norwich City. This season is done. I think they're relegated. They're not going to be able to save themselves. Then our main event on Friday was when Jose Mourinho's Tottenham were hosting his former bosses, his former club, Manchester United. And I remember telling a friend, I had a feeling, it was this feeling in the air that it was just going to be a Jose Mourinho night. It looked that way from the moment I saw the teams. And I have to say, for about 60 to 70 minutes, it looked like Jose Mourinho had put one out of the bag. Another Jose masterclass. Tottenham were so solid, so compact, offered very little going forward. And Man United were just there, standing around. They were pushing, but you could see that they didn't have real quality when it came to breaking down Tottenham Hotspurs. But before we look at how they got back into the game, let's look at Tottenham's goal, the one that made the game 1-0. I have to say that was some shocking defending from Harry Maguire. He doesn't even show Steven Bergwijn the outside. I don't know what he's trying to do. Steven Bergwijn just roasts him with his pace. It was just like a roasting, putting him on a bright stand. Then before he shoots, we get to David De Gea. My gosh, has he lost a step? I was looking at it like maybe some crisis in confidence for David De Gea, but now I'm starting to believe he's lost a step. He has been poor for quite some time now, David De Gea, and teams are taking a real advantage of it. I remember watching Roy Keane on the halftime show. He was saying that he was disgusted and he was done with this goalkeeper. I'm of the belief that David should save that shot from Steven Bergwijn. He really lets his teammates down, and from how highly I've rated him in the past, I have to say that I believe David is in decline. And I believe maybe I'm going to be one of the first people to say this, but there's some sort of decline happening with David De Gea. I don't know if he can recover. And he's got a lot of pressure now, because I know a lot of United fans who've been calling for the kid on loan at Sheffield United, Dean Henderson. They've been calling for him to be reinstated or installed as Manchester United's number one from next season onwards. So I guess it's got maybe until the end of the season to prove his worth to Manchester United, or maybe they're going to have to start to plan on how they move on from him. When you've got a kid like Dean Anderson, who's impressed a lot of people at Sheffield United, and he hasn't yet signed a contract extension because he wants some guarantees to sign a contract extension with Manchester United of game time. He wants to play because he knows he's good enough. Even England have now been touting him as a potential number one when they play the Euros next summer in 2021. He might be able to replace Jordan Pickford. I believe he's better than Pickford as well. So David De Gea needs to get his act together. So now, as I've been saying, it was a Jose Mourinho masterclass for about 60 to 70 minutes. But then the man comes back, his first appearance after a very, very long time. My man, Paul Pogba. This man has got some talent that is out of this world. He gets on, he starts playing some really good passes, really good dribbling from Paul Pogba. He was showing his class, that he was better than a lot of people on that field. Maybe him and Bruno Fernandes might be on the same page, but them two together, working together, combining, Tottenham started to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and it just looked like United were gonna get a goal. Then he's the one who gets tripped up, I believe by Eric Dyer. United get a penalty. Bruno Fernandes on the spot, perfect 10 out of 10 penalty, slots it away, 1-1. Then United keep pressing now. Now you're starting to get scared or a little afraid for Jose. You're thinking maybe the game it could turn out. They could just lose the game in the final few minutes. United are pushing and pushing and pushing. Then we come to a moment as well that's like a highlight of the match. Bruno Fernandes and Eric Dyer. There's a sort of coming together or something like that where Eric Dyer cleanly wins the ball, but the referee points to the spot. Jose Mourinho was incensed, to say the least. He was mad. He was shouting, was saying things all over the place. He didn't want that penalty. He knew that it wasn't a penalty. And if it was 10 years earlier, I believe Bruno Fernandes takes the penalty, scores another penalty, 2-1 to Man United, a good 3 points for them. But we're now in the era of VAR, and this is just showing us some of the good things that VAR does. It actually reversed a really, really bad decision and made it into a good one, because it wasn't a penalty for Manchester United in the first place. So the game ends 1-1, which I believe it was a fair result. But the headline has to be Pogba coming back. Oh my gosh, what some 30 minutes he gave us. That was some good stuff. Now the thing with Paul Pogba is, as I've realized from a lot of United fans that I talk to, there's a bit of a division. He's a very divisive figure. They all acknowledge that he's very, very talented, but some of them say maybe his attitude is not right towards the club and they want him gone. Then the others sort of protect him. Then they say that he doesn't have the right weapons he's supposed to have at United for him to make as big an impact that people expect him to make. I have to say that I believe it's somewhere in between the middle. I believe that the responsibility should be shared, yes, between Manchester United for not giving him enough, because I don't think he does quite have enough to maybe push United to a level where they can challenge for the Premier League again, because I'm guessing that's what every Manchester United fan wants from Manchester United. But also looking from the other angle, I also believe that Pogba should be taking on some flack, because there's this lack of consistency in his game that I see. He can wow me this moment, then 30 seconds later I get so frustrated with him, because I know he's very talented and he's not giving me the output that I'm expecting from him, regardless of who he's got around. So I think responsibility should be shared when it comes to Paul Pogba, but wow, what a player. He should be leading them to greater expectations next season when they're starting together, Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba, I believe. So maybe now that the question for Manchester United would be, who is going to be the sitting midfielder in that midfield three when there's Pogba and Bruno Fernandes? I believe at the moment, of course, I would go for Matic, because he also looked quite good in that cameo. He looked a bit fit, better than he's done for a long time now. He looked good. Or maybe, I guess, some other people might want Fred or McTominay, the United lad, the kid from the academy. You know how people really get aroused by, kids that come from the academy. I'm also a football fan myself, so I know how it feels. So maybe some people might want McTominay. So it would be really good to see how Ole is going to present his lineups from now on in when it comes to United. So before I forget, guys, please like, share and subscribe, and turn on your notification bells on the YouTube user interface, so that you wouldn't have to miss any updates that come from this channel on a weekly basis, because we're going to be dropping all these reviews, all these tactical insights and information that's happening around the game on a weekly basis, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss that. And this show, I promise, I think it's just going to grow bigger and bigger, and it's going to get better with time, I have to say that. But it's been a good start. Then we get on to Saturday. The first match was the midday kickoff, Watford versus Leicester City. Leicester controlled the ball as you'd expect, possession and everything. Watford looked good on the counter-attack. Ismail Assar had a lot of yardage. I'm pretty sure if in soccer gaining yards was as valuable as it is in American football or rugby, Ismail Assar would have had a Man of the Match award just because of the number of yards he gave in this match. But it was a typical Premier League Premier League game. 1-1, Chilwell, what a goal. Just going to further the intensity of rumors that are linking him to Chelsea with another okay display. I would give it a 7 out of 10. He had a pretty good game, but just as Leicester thought they'd won the game, in the 91st minute, Craig Dawson scored a wonderful acrobatic, and both teams scored. They shared the spoils, and I guess we have to say it's a point gained for Leicester in their quest for Champions League football in the upcoming season. It was an okay performance from Leicester City. Then moving on, again, I'm back at Arsenal Football Club. And how do they not disappoint? They make sure they give you something to talk about every week. That's how bad Arsenal Football Club are at the moment. They're playing versus Brighton on Saturday. So from a tactical standpoint, I really like how Arteta had them lining up from the start. It was really good and really something different, 3-3-1-3. That was the formation. But just like how we've come to expect from us now, they start the game okay, they're alright. You'd expect them to beat Brighton. But again, Arsenal fail. They fail to beat a small club that they're expected to beat. Typical Arsenal performance in 2020. Typical Arsenal performance for the last 2 years. They just disappoint you when they're playing relegation-threatened Brighton and Hove Albion. I can't say I'm surprised. This is the new Arsenal, and I think I should tell Arsenal fans to expect this from Arsenal. This is the new Arsenal. This is what being an Arsenal fan is like nowadays. I don't think they're going to improve anytime soon. They're not improving anytime soon. If you're looking to challenge for the league, start planning for maybe the 2026 season. That's when Arsenal might be back. But they're going to be away for a very, very long time with these types of performances, this type of players, the players that they have, this type of recruitment that they have at the club. It's everything at Arsenal is just like a basket of rotten eggs at the moment. they can't do anything right. Okay, let me take you through the match. Typical Arsenal, boring performance, nothing really happening. But of course, just like Arsenal, as I said, Arsenal is cursed. If you're an Arsenal fan, just know that this club is cursed. You need to go for some exorcism, and maybe they will start getting some luck. Your number one goalkeeper, one of the few, if not only bright spot of this season for Arsenal Football Club, Bernd Leno, gets injured. Of course, I see some Arsenal players, Bernd Leno himself, taking it out on Neil Maupay. But I don't actually think it's Maupay's fault. It happens in this sport. It's a contact sport. Things happen. People jump for things. People contest for balls. He happened to contest with Leno. Then Leno got badly injured. Just from looking at it, it looked real bad. I didn't look for an update afterwards or after the match. I still don't know how long he's going to be out. But just from looking and watching the match, it looks like he might be out for a very long time. Certainly, I don't think he might be able to finish this season. Okay, and that's fine. That's done and dusted. Arsenal unlucky. We know, we apologize. We hope you might have some better luck in the future. Nicolas Pepe. Arsenal go 1 up. What a goal. What a cold goal. Nice curve on the ball. Magnificent strike from Nicolas Pepe. But I don't understand how Arsenal, from a position of dominance like that, dominating a 16th place team in the Premier League, I don't know how they throw away the result like that. The first goal comes off a set piece. This has been an issue for Arsenal for years now, conceding from set pieces. It happens again. 1-1. And as soon as they conceded that goal, they looked out of steam. I was not expecting that this game was going to be a draw because they weren't giving anything anymore. But in the final minute, Maupay just goes crazy on them. Nice pass, nice run. Goes past, is it Rob Holding? Yes, it should be Rob Holding. Then he just finishes it. 2-1 to Brighton. What a good result for Brighton. I think that's going to be a big boost in their fight for survival in this league. But oh my, Arsenal have been poor. Arsenal have been very, very poor for a long time. And let me just tell you something. Arsenal are not going to improve anytime soon. I declare it. You can write it down. On this day, this guy said Arsenal are not going to improve anytime soon. And you know what? You're not going to be coming back to me telling me, oh, he was wrong. You said Arsenal wouldn't improve, because I'm going to be right. Arsenal are not going to improve anytime in the near future. They're just so pathetic. I don't know. Just because I have to be watching all these games and talking about them, maybe that's the only reason I'm going to be watching Arsenal. But if not, I don't think I was going to be watching Arsenal for a very, very long time. It's actually you feel sorry for them. You feel sorry for the fans. I know how the Gunners fan base is very, very passionate about their football. They were used to all the successes under Arsene Wenger. But that's over now. Arsenal are in the pits. These are the pits of football. And they're not getting better anytime soon. I'm very, very sorry, guys. We have to look at other matches now. There was 2 more matches on Saturday. West Ham hosting Wolverhampton. They lost 2-0 to Wolves. Raul Jimenez and Pedro Neto with the goals. This feathering Wolves challenge for a Champions League place. They are so close. Bournemouth also lost to Crystal Palace at home. They were at home to Crystal Palace and they lost. Bournemouth also looking all out of sorts. I would nominate Norwich City and Bournemouth for relegation now. I don't think those two are going to be able to survive. I think we should start their eulogies for the Premier League. They should start planning for the Championship. Then on Sunday, Newcastle came back for the first time facing Sheffield United. Besides the red card, I don't think much was happening in the match. I doubt that Newcastle would have won this game if Sheffield United had suffered the red card, which was also, it was justified, nothing wrong with the red card. It happens in football. It's part of football. But Newcastle end up winning the match 3-0. And there's a much-needed goal for their record signing, Joe Linton, who has been suffering so much with a lack of confidence, lack of goals. That's his second goal of this current Premier League season. And that was good for him. It was now Chelsea's chance to show us if they had been preparing well for this restart. And this is my personal favorite. I am a Chelsea fan through and through. We were playing against Aston Villa. Okay. Chelsea were playing against Aston Villa. Let me try to be impartial here. It was a normal big team versus small team game. Chelsea had all the possession, but weren't creating much in the final third. In the opening 20 minutes, Aston Villa were just deep. But as soon as Chelsea looked to be gaining some sort of momentum, the cooling break came on. And they lost all that momentum just because after that cooling break, Aston Villa began staging one or two attacks, and Chelsea themselves aren't a really good team. Let me say that, and let me be honest. As soon as they face some threat, as soon as the opposition starts to look as if they can attack, you can start to see all the fragilities at the back and the back four. Centre back, especially for me, Chelsea needs a new centre back to partner someone like maybe Christensen or Fikayo Tomori. We do need a new centre back in that position. So Chelsea go down 40th minute. It's a typical goal that Chelsea have had a habit of conceding, especially this season with Frank Lampard. I think the zonal marking has been a problem. They concede the goal to Courtney House, goes to halftime 1-0. Aston Villa are looking like they might be able to save themselves after all. But as soon as we get into the second half, Lampard makes one or two changes, brings off Loftus-Cheek, who wasn't performing well at all. Maybe it's because of the rust. He's been out for such a long time. And he brings on Christian Pulisic. Christian Pulisic comes on, is the game changer from then on. He scores the goal and is very influential in the making of the second goal for Olivier Giroud, and Chelsea win. But that's the problem with Chelsea. They win these matches. I know 3 points is 3 points, but they're not quite at that level of a Manchester City, of the other big teams in the world, maybe a Real Madrid or a Barcelona. They're nowhere in the same breath, because Manchester City, this game, I'm telling you, they win it 4-0. They don't even get stressed by a team like Aston Villa. They just bash them 4-0. It's over, 3 points, game done. But Chelsea bring you to the brink of a heart attack when you watch them play. Even at 2-1 up, I wasn't comfortable that we were going to win that game. That's just Chelsea for you, I have to say that. The Merseyside derby promised a lot, but gave up very, very little. Let me be honest here. I don't even remember watching the game. I think maybe I slept in the 12th minute, because it just looked from the onset that nothing was really going to happen in this game. And nothing happened. Of course, Everton, they get some pride from this draw. They don't get to beat Liverpool very often. To them, a draw is a really, really positive result. When it comes to Liverpool, Liverpool didn't even look like they played to win the game. They know that they've already won the Premier League. They won it before the suspension because of the coronavirus pandemic. So now maybe they're just back to just fall over the line. Maybe just draw the remaining games and fixtures and just draw to win it, because they know they've already won it. Nothing really happened in this match. Nothing stood out. And I can't really comment further on this match. That's all. That was the Merseyside derby. Very promising. The previews and everything, all those adverts that happened before the match, those were much more entertaining than the game itself. I have to say, it was a really, really poor game.
And from TK Sports, this is all we have for you today. For further interaction and for news and updates, you can follow us at TK Sports, and you can just push on the notification buttons for live updates. this is all we have for you today. Thank you.